Hello everyone, you are watching a segment of the countdown program from October 23, 2023, today is Monday. View all of our programs on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. About the topics of the postscript program a little later, but now to the main thing. Putin's heart stopped. Professor Solovey stated this the day before. Lie with us, lie like us, lie louder than us. The bald bird has been burying the putlocrat for many years in a row. The professor's arias are always performed on Old Square, but the theme is usually the same: Putin is weak, bad, his cancer is strong, and Parkinson's is progressing. The bald man is losing weight day by day and is about to kick off his hooves. Yesterday, for example, while the real Putin's motorcade was driving around Moscow in the evening, Nightingale fed his flock with sweet songs about how Putin fell out of bed and almost went to the Kobzonarium. This case of cardiac arrest seriously alarmed the president's inner circle, despite the fact that the attending doctors had already warned that Putin was very ill and was unlikely to live until the end of autumn, said a certain anonymous SVR general, behind whom Nightingale's sharp ears stick out. At the same time, propaganda is clearly preparing the cave community for a hellish transition to heaven. Some will go to camps for isolation, at the request of Alko General Gurolev, others will be assigned to the trenches through military registration and enlistment offices, and others will simply die. Now propagandists are busy with the main thing: diverting the population's attention from the growing economic crisis, which threatens the collapse of the ruble and losses at the front. Among other things, a clash with NATO and the United States loomed on the horizon. The world is tired of aggressive regimes wreaking havoc in different regions. Biden, who in his recent speech united Hamas and Putin, hinted that US patience is running out, and the Russian world risks ending as ignominiously as the Islamic terrorists, who will be dealt with soon enough. Humanity needs a new world order to replace the one established 50 years ago, Biden said. The current model has become obsolete, but the United States can create a new one. I think we have the opportunity, if we are bold and confident enough, to unite the world in a way that has never been done before. We lived in the post-war period for 50 years and everything worked damn well, but the steam ran out. Therefore, we need a different, new world order, the US president said. A more obvious hint of the cleansing of the planet from rudimentary systems has never been heard. A new axis of evil, Russia, Iran and China, which the United States must cope with, said Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell. And it is very likely that the West will begin clearing the rubble from the long-ruined UN, which demonstrates not only impotence, but also prevents us from moving forward, without reacting in any way to the pressing challenges of the present. Someone had to start this process, and because of its activation, people in the cave will shout even louder, more violently, pumping up the atmosphere with hatred of the West and trumpeting the inevitability of a total war. Because no matter how much Professor Nightingale sings about Putin's clinical death, the bald dictator is alive and ready to challenge the entire world order, which he does not recognize and hates. Watch this and other stories in full on the Patreon resource. Become our patrons right now and look further in this program. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said the military campaign in Gaza could last several months. Despite external Allied pressure on Israel to delay the ground operation until the hostages, including foreign nationals, are freed, the IDF is preparing to carry it out. British intelligence has published data on Russia's future spending on the war with Ukraine. The furry people will be strangled by tightening their belts. Tariffs for home internet in Russia may increase by 10 to 15% in 2024, a survey of top managers of telecommunications companies showed. 82% of respondents warned about the rise in prices. Watch in the program, Postscript. The enemies inside the caves were strangled and transplanted, and just yesterday the United Patriots began to gnaw at each other, which is quite logical. The enemies are over, it's time to look for the wrong shades of red-brown. Gurolev proposes to identify and eliminate 20% of the disloyal. Satanovsky calls Zakharova, drinking scum, and falls into disgrace, and in the swamps a front has been opened in the fight against incorrect monuments and memorials. Against the background of general turbulence and failures in the war, the Russians are tightening their belts. About 36% of almost 5,000 respondents said that they lack about 20,000 rubles a month to cover all their needs. But this has not yet begun the collective extinction, which, according to Rosstat, will soon reach 500,000 Russians per year. And that is all. View our full programs on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to everyone. See you on Thursday. Glory to Ukraine.